Hi guys. Are you out there? Say hi. Fabulous. Hey, welcome. Happy Earth Day. Excellent. Hi. Great to see you guys joining in. Gather round. Cozy up to your little cell phone. We got something amazing to talk about today. All right. Here comes Harriet. We're going to talk with Harriet today. I want to introduce you to her. She's going to be amazing. All right, we're waiting for folks to get on, joining, gather around, grab a glass of water because we're going to settle in and have a really cool discussion. Probably about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. It's going to blow your mind. It could change your life. And you're going to hear some amazing stuff from the real world. If you care about your health, this is a great place to be right now. If you want to avoid hospitals, you want to get out of pain, stay tuned because this is an interesting subject. Okay, I'm looking at some of the comments here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out this information, you guys. Hi. All right, cool. Where's Harriet? Let's see if we can. I'm going to bring her on in a second. She's got I want to share with you a real life story that's going to reveal that, what we think is a healthy plant-based diet is got some serious dangers hidden in it. And the hidden part is the scary part, because you can be trying really hard to take care of your health and it can backfire. Let's see. Harriet, you got to ask to come on. So I can get you to come on. So this is a cool day for many reasons. First of all, happy Earth Day. Today's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So I hope you're doing something to celebrate and honor life on this planet and do it in a kind and conscious way. Harriet, you need to ask to come on with me. And I know she's here. Not only Earth Day. So let's see. Harriet. Oops. Uh-oh. All right, Harriet, throw me another comment. So she's going to join us. And the other reason this is a really special day, because both with this live Instagram thing, we're like yoga people, not techie.
Hey,
Hey, look who's here. How
hello.
cool. Here we are.
Here we've
All
done
right.
it. Let me set this up.
Welcome.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
all your friends from the UK are with us and bringing in all of Europe to meet you. It's fantastic to see you.
It is great.
It's really good. Hey, this is going to be really inspirational for everybody listening. Check out some of the comments. Can you see the comments?
Oh yeah, here we go. Hello, Lee. Oh, amazing. This is fun.
Yeah, yeah. So this is cool because sometimes we can be on a path we think is the right path, and then we find out, sorry, wrong one.
Nope.
not that. That didn't work.
Nope.
I'm a little older than you are, and so I've had longer years to make the mistakes. And you actually had some issues for quite a while before you figured out what's going on. So just to introduce you guys who are coming on, this is a big question. Could healthy food be like really bad for you?
Yes.
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 So here we have a key witness who sacrificed her very life to share this information with you. Like, she's got a really important story to share with you. She's somebody who ate a bunch of kale and seeds and hummus and smoothies made with spinach and almond milk and peanut butter, salads full of vegetables and lentils, nut balls, dark chocolate, like all the cool stuff with the superfoods thrown in just in case you needed to be amazing, right? So somebody's making comments on there, checking you guys out. Am I? Yeah, so, and then I met her when she sent me an email about a year ago. I think it was April last year, and then we had a really kickoff start. I think it was in early June. So just about our year anniversary of getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, why did she bother to call me? Well, this fabulous diet of hers, something wasn't going well. You know, she was not really thriving on this diet and was struggling and telling me about bad sleep and digestive problems and tinnitus and tooth pain and shoulder stuff and so much worse than that. Stuff even worse than that. Like in the hospital. She's a young woman in the hospital with problems that only happen to 80-year-old white guys. Like, what is she doing in the hospital? And then she managed to turn this thing around. So Harriet, here you are. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about your story and like maybe in the dark pit of the hospital. Like what was like the scariest thing you've ever been through with your health?
So all of this kind of came to a head. I think it was 3 years ago. How old am I now? Yeah, 3 years ago. And I look back now and I realize that everything was slowly deteriorating. My level of anxiety was getting really, really anxious. I just thought that was, you know, life. No.
And you life at what age? 3 years ago, you were like 25, right?
Yeah. So yeah, not. I shouldn't have been that stressful. My sleep, I just thought I was somebody that couldn't sleep. I was always ill, always had a cold. And I was doing everything that I thought was the healthiest diet I could. I went vegan.
That just young.
Yeah. So when I was 21, I just left drama school. I was looking, I realize now, for something to cling on to keep me safe. And I controlled myself through food. And I was following all of this. The vegan diet is the healthiest diet. It's going to make you feel amazing. And with every time that I kind of bought into that media dogma and I started to feel not well, you know, I was throwing money at supplements. Smash cut to me being in the hospital on New Year's Eve. I'd just spent about 3 months in and out of doctors' surgeries, just telling me, oh, you've just got IBS, you've just got cystitis, it's just one of those things. Been thrown multiple packets of antibiotics just chucked at me. Then I went to hospital, was told I had a kidney stone, thought I was fine, ploughed on, and then my renal system basically shut down. And I was 23, turning 24. I had to pull out of an acting job, which is my career, and was so heartbreaking. And the doctors came to me and they said, we don't know what's wrong with you. We can't find any kidney stones. We know that you've passed them because your renal system's so distended. Everything had opened up, but there was so much scar tissue that my renal system stopped working. So I was catheterized at the age of 23. And I was told I was probably going to have to be catheterized for the next 3 months at least, because they didn't know what was going on with me and they thought it was in my head.
It sounds like it was in your kidneys.
Yeah, but it was, that really was so shocking to me, that I was somebody who had always eaten so healthy, had always tried to take care of myself, and nothing was technically wrong. And I'd been to see so many doctors. I'd been telling them this, my body is telling me that there's something not right here. And they're just like, it's something you just have to live with. Just your bladder may never work again. I mean, that was awful. And then they were just like, take the catheter and we'll see you in 3 months. To which I went, nah, I'm not doing this. And I left. So I discharged myself from hospital. I went. I had to have some surgery to dilate some of my renal system, which was unpleasant at best. And then I dove into trying to work out what the hell was going on. Why was I getting a UTI every 2 weeks? Why, when I was going to the doctors, could they not find that they couldn't clarify that it was a UTI? So I was just in this constant cycle of pain, not knowing what was going on. And I tried acupuncture, everything. everything you can imagine. I even went to a psychic, and this will make you laugh. And she said, "You're eating too much green." And I forgot that I didn't tell you this. She said, "There's too much green. You're eating too many vegetables. Your body can't assimilate what you're eating." And I was like, "Wow." I'm like, yeah, that's right. And then this was probably before last Christmas. I was returning back to the same theatre that I had to leave a couple of years ago because of the kidney stones. And before I went to do that job, I went to this herbalist naturopath. And she said, "Oh, what did your kidney stones look like?" Because they'd obviously tried to test the ones that I was excreting in a prolific amount, and they couldn't find anything. They didn't know what it was. And I said to this woman,
that's their job. They're supposed to know what this is. Wow.
Yes. So I said to this woman, "Oh, they kind of look like fish food. There's like little crystals." And she went, "Oh, you got oxalate kidney stones then?" And that was the first time I met.
Who told you that?
It was a lady who works on Harley Street. Her name, I've forgotten her name now. I will.
What does she do? What's her profession?
So she's a naturopathic doctor. She works with.
You had to go to a naturopath to tell you the neurologist at the hospital could not tell you what your problem was.
And I went to them and I said, "It has to be my diet. There is nothing else that I can think of. I can't just be somebody making kidney stones. I mean, I'm really good at making kidney stones, but it has to be my diet." And at not one point did somebody say, "What are you eating?" Not at one point.
Not once.
So yeah, so I went and met this woman, and she went, "Oxalate," and she went, "Here's a list of foods that are high in oxalate." And I was like, "Well, that's my diet. All I'm eating is high oxalate foods." And I thought that these were the healthiest foods in the world. I thought I was doing everything I should be doing. So without knowing about you and gradually decreasing the oxalate consumption, I just cut them out. Just cut them out. And oh boy, was I for a ride. So I was doing an acting job back at the place which I'd had to leave because of the kidney. So it's a lovely sort of back to where it all began with this, and then started the detox symptoms. So I first of all got grit in my eye, had no idea what this was, just so much grit every morning, having to like be like, "What the hell is this?" My sleep was bad anyway, but it got worse. And then the panic attacks began, and I'd never had a panic attack in my life. Digestion went mental. And so I thought, what the heck is going on? I'm trying to do everything right. And all these weird things are happening. And anyway, I got through that contract, went straight into another one.
Continuing to work while you're falling apart.
Continuing to work. And suddenly I had the ping, "You need to eat some meat." And I'd been vegetarian since I was 5. I decided very early on that I didn't want to eat animals. But this message in my head was getting louder and louder. And it wasn't coming from anything other than my body. And I was like, okay, what the hell is going on here?
You know, it's interesting that the message came through after you stopped eating oxalates. Like your body wanted to say that before, but the oxalate really blocks our relationship with our body. Like the body can't tell us, it's getting so confused and you can't hear it.
No,
and then
so
what's
true.
fascinating is I had the same experience. Like now my body's telling me what I should be eating, but it couldn't do that when I was eating high oxalate foods.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I had never thought of that before. But yeah, so this message just came like, eat some meat. And at this point I had been vegetarian for 23 years, so it had never even factored into my anything. I had no relationship to meat. So now I was in supermarkets like staring at fish and being like, what is going on here? So things seemed to settle down. I was feeling better in my body. I wasn't feeling great, but now I realize if you have a steak, you feel fantastic. So for then, I was feeling much better. And then
so go ahead. Now, wait a minute. You're a vegan basically for 23 years, and now you're saying if you have a steak, you feel fantastic. Is that what I just heard?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a chill. It's the literal chill pill. Now, if I feel myself getting angry, so I'm like, right, have some red meat, and it's amazing. It's the calming food. It's the grounding life force of an animal, just helping the nervous system. So yeah, that's a conversation we need to have.
That's a really cool point. I mean, and you can feel that, and despite your own ideological resistance to the idea of it, now you're able to hear it from your biology, like nature speaking through you. And here we are on Earth Day, listening to your inner nature. That is so cool.
And that guidance system that, if you tune into it, it's never going to be wrong. But yeah, so this time last year, I got another kidney stone. What a surprise. But this time it didn't take 3 months for them to leave my system. It took 3 days. And I couldn't believe that this was happening again. The pain, anyone that's had a kidney stone knows. And I just thought, I'm trying to do everything right here, and I've got another kidney stone. So then I went on an Instagram rabbit hole and I found you. And what were you saying? Meat heals. Eat the meat. And the rest is kind of history. We had our little bit of chat. We met. We had a session. You said you need to eat some meat or you're going to get kidney failure. And then my boyfriend made me a bacon sandwich. I haven't looked back since. It's not technically true. There was a lot of anxiety in between. But yeah, that was me. And no kidney stone.
Well, now, you've proven yourself even when the kidney stone came back with the oxalate clearing out of your system. 3 days and way less drama, way less life-threatening stuff.
No infection, which was, that was killing. It's killing me. I got sepsis. I forgot to say.
Tell them about that.
So the reason I was in the hospital so much was because, the oxalate kidney stones, as they come out, were lacerating the renal system. So I was getting infection after infection after infection and being thrown antibiotics without making sure that it was the right product for me to be taking. So yeah, my body just went, none of these are working, and I got sepsis in my kidneys.
This is serious stuff. People don't realize that you could die from kidney failure, like kidney failure and having to go on dialysis. This is not good. It's not like you can just get new kidneys, even though we think we can. That's not how it works. And people don't realize how common kidney damage is and how much oxalates and other compounds are destroying our kidneys. And it's really serious stuff. Yeah. And here you are, a young woman in the hospital with kidney infection. This is the kind of stuff that takes out old farts, Like, what are you doing with this problem?
And all the doctors were like, we don't know. You're too young. You look healthy. Whatever that means. I didn't think I looked healthy at all. But yeah, and so then we had our conversation. It was something that I knew that I needed to do. So this was over about 4 or 5 months, me being like, should I eat meat? Shouldn't I eat meat? And then I met you and you said, cool, eat the way you're eating and you'll get kidney failure. And I just realized, I have to show up for myself and I have to trust that my body knows best, and I need to put my ego aside. My identity as a vegetarian, vegan is so important to me, but also I'm more important. And my body has been failing for my whole 20s. And I've missed out on things because I've been worried about my health. I haven't been well enough to do things. And yeah, bacon's delicious.
So the remedy didn't end up being so terrible, but the transition is really profound, that you were brave enough or tortured enough, like desperate enough to be teachable.
Yeah. And I just think to anybody who's ever had a kidney stone, if you know that pain, if there's a possibility that you won't ever have that amount of pain in your body, and that frustration that you're back in a hospital, back morphine, back, I mean, just pain. The pain was just so unbelievable for me, just being like, can I just get out of my own way and actually look after the meat suit that I've been given properly and do what it wants? And there was tears, and there was a lot of reflection, and again going back to psychics. And I made peace with eating meat because I was sick of being in pain. And if that makes me a bad person, then that's fine, because you just have to look after yourself, and your health is the most valuable thing that you have. And you just have to learn how to respect and listen to your own body, because that is the guidance system. And if you
how could being in the hospital with a catheter be good for anything? How could that be good for the planet? How could that be good for the animals? I mean, like, it's not doing all, you know, in fact, one of the worst forms of pollution in the ocean used to be hospital waste. There used to be hospital waste floating all through the ocean, and the ocean animals are busy looking at syringes and catheters and all this garbage from the hospitals. How can that be good? Look at all the disposables and how, like, our health is so expensive. It's not just your pocketbook. It's not just your ridiculous insurance rates. It's the planet, and like, it's each other. What good are you to your boyfriend or your family when you're in the hospital? Like, you're worthless. You're become the problem because you tried to get healthy. It's really sad.
It's and it now, people just need to take ownership of their health and stop listening to whatever this is. Your body will tell you if it's happy or if it's not. And if it's not, you have to listen to that, because you can think that you've ended up with a health condition dramatically, very quickly, but it has been talking to you for a really, really long time. And only when you're in the hospital looking up at a ceiling do you think, oh no, I haven't been well for a really long time.
Gives you time to reflect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Between the just sheer suffering.
Yeah.
So you know, how has it impacted who you are and where you're going in life?
How good question. It's made me trust my body.
That's huge. Like,
yes.
Now you have a relationship with yourself. I really think that's the key part of this journey, is coming to yourself and having enough confidence in your own experience to let that be good enough. You don't need outside affirmation and other people who think certain things are virtuous. Once you've really ingested your real experience and what's true, then you're reliant on yourself for your sense of reality. You don't need other people to tell you what's true.
That's so true. Yeah. And in the sort of strange industry that I'm in, you know, work is never quite straightforward. That ability to now trust my gut and go, is this something that I really want to do, or is this something that I feel like I should be doing? It's the same with diet. You learn how to tune into your body's innate wisdom, and it won't ever let you down. And I've learned that because of food and oxalates and your work, and it has just been such a positive revelation to the whole of the rest of my life. So thank you.
That's what we're fully empowered, spiritually in tune with who we're meant to be. Is so good for the world. And it means you don't have an eating disorder and a drug addiction and an alcohol thing, because you're living the life you're meant to live, because you're really starting to tune into what that's going to be.
100%.
Awesome. So what do you have to say for other people? What is it that they can notice that can help move them forward? What if somebody's out there who's been wanting to be plant-based and not sure if it's working, but really thinks that should be what they should be doing? And there's a lot of should. I know a young gal who was in high school, and she was feeling like a bad person because she felt she was supposed to be vegan, but she felt better when she ate meat, and she was so torn up about that.
I just think let me be a lesson. Give it 23 years, and we're going to see a huge problem in the healthcare system, whatever country we're in, because people eating this way, if somebody's body is suiting this way of eating, fine. If it's not, you are going to know about it, and it's going to put people in the hospital. And because this oxalate stuff isn't yet widely talked about, people are just going to be ill, confused, and just given pills, given supplements, and told to get on with things. And it's for women as well. I just, all of these problems, UTIs, we are told that it's something that we should just put up with. It's just one of those things that women have to deal with. It's like, no, just look at what you're eating. Is that the problem? Because it probably is.
Yeah, that's a really good point about this new normal. Like, illness is so normalized. You're supposed to have urinary incontinence and UTIs and infections and
anxiety. There has to be a parallel as well between the problems in mental health that young people, everybody's facing.
Yeah.
Mental health decline and the propaganda of a plant-based lifestyle. That has to be a correlation.
No doubt about it. If your brain is starved from the proper fats and proper nutrients, you are anxious. Your brain is worried. And if you're poisoned by oxalate and other natural chemicals that plants make, your brain is freaking out. It doesn't want to be poisoned. So yes, you're anxious. And then add in all this group anxiety. I really think the bad diet is partly why people went on this weird buying binge with this whole fear about the pandemic and will we be allowed in the stores or what's going to happen, all that uncertainty. People are, if you're toxic and malnourished, you're going to have, that kind of fear-based living. And it's the biology not happy.
No, and if there's one thing that I can say hand on heart that I cannot believe the change in my body, among the myriad of things that have improved, I can tell I'm about to have an oxalate dump if I start have a sleepless night, my motor functions start to go, and then I get anxiety. And I recognize now that I was living in that constant cycle. And if I feel that, I have a steak and something just calms me down. And food is medicine. And because I have been a vegetarian for a long time, I know where my food comes from. And I am so appreciative of that, so that when I receive that kind of, it is a spiritual experience. It is, woo-woo as that sounds.
No, not to me.
But yeah, I was in Germany doing a contract over Christmas. Oh my God, was I stressed out. And I went and I ordered the biggest steak I could. And I just sat like, oh my God, this is amazing. Just pulls the nervous system back into alignment. Yeah.
The steak with nothing else, right?
So good. Loads of butter.
Loads of butter.
Shove the vegetables to the side.
Buttered steak, leave the vegetables, keep the garnishes there over there on the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really quite true that when you're receiving food that is that nourishing and about where it comes especially, it grounds you to life itself. I mean, that eating is the most interaction we do with nature.
Yeah.
It's the most intimate thing we do with nature. We're so much a part of it, and we're recycling and regenerating that life force in that cycle on the planet. So I love that we're talking about this on Earth Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I was, a vegetarian and then a vegan, 8 years of each, but you way beat me with 23 years of pretty much vegan.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that you've done as well as you have, because you were doing vegetarianism before puberty, during your maturing and growing years.
I did get a kidney stone when I was 11. I forgot. I had so many of them. Yeah. And
11. You're a tiny kid at 11. You're not.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, I'm so proud of you for being willing to share your story, because so many other 11-year-olds need to know what happened to you.
Yeah.
and that it's okay to have a steak, and it's a really smart idea. And there's nothing virtuous about destroying your health trying to be with the in crowd.
No, no. It people will come back around when you're in that much pain, and your body just starts breaking down, and it's not normal.
One thing you haven't mentioned is what the heck this dumping is, and the fact that this full recovery of getting oxalate now out of your body is not an overnight process. And so you're still actually a person with an oxalate problem.
Yes.
And going to stay that way probably for many more years.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything about that? Like, because to me, what that brings up is the whole idea of prevention. Why wait until you've got something wrong?
100%. 100%. So yeah, oxalate dumping's not fun.
Which means we're clearing out these residues that have been building up in our bones and tendons and so on for years of eating like this, eating peanut butter and potato chips and chocolate and spinach and almonds and all that stuff that's high in oxalate that leaves behind residues every time you overspike your kidney and body's ability to handle it, because those are so super high. And the overflow of that, each dose leaves traces behind that build up over years. So now you're full of it.
Yeah.
And it takes many years to undo that. And so if you had stopped 10 years sooner, or, you'd have less to deal with now. Right. But now you're still having episodes of, describe that again. You did that so well about how you lose your coordination and your sleep goes and you get
So, and I actually realized that recently because I'm back home with my parents who basically live in the middle of nowhere and have a freezer full of meat. So I've just been like going to town because I can see I see this sheep, they're out by my parents' house. So, I'm eating the animals that I know have had a good life, but I've been enjoying myself and I've been eating a lot of meat, which means my reserve of all the good stuff is going up. So my body starts to go, okay, let's do this. We're strong enough. Oxalate dump. What I've started to find, and I have kind of had the whole spectrum of oxalate dump, I get the grit in my eye, my sleep quality, which is brilliant usually now, thanks to you and your work, starts being disrupted. And with the disruption of my sleep comes urinary frequency and bladder pain, which is not surprising because that's where clearly I've accumulated a lot of these oxalates. So yeah, poor night's sleep. And then I find my bodily coordination, something goes haywire and I start tripping over things and I start dropping things. And as I'm doing this, my ability to formulate sentences and search for words, which again, people think, oh, it's just something, that you have to do. No, that's your brain saying there's something not quite right here. But when I feel, I'm starting to say and now, but when I feel like my cognition isn't fully present, then I know there's a dump about to happen. So yeah, for me, those are really clear signs that something's coming. And then the other fun stuff, joint pain, flare up of old injuries, which comes and goes kind of as quickly as it came. What else? Tooth sensitivity, which funnily enough, as I just got discharged from hospital, I kept going to the dentist because I thought I'd cracked a tooth. So that was, again, it's so clear how the body works. And yeah, just a general not feeling 100%. But now with a year of this diet under my belt, I know how good I can feel and how crappy I sometimes feel. And I know that how I sometimes feel, this crappiness, was how I was living my life. But it's temporary, and if you rest and you really take care of yourself and this is a cycle, I'll come out of it, and then when you get the good days you think, oh my gosh, yes, this is it. This is what I'm working towards.
Yeah, and sometimes the good days can be a little bit hard to find if you're going through these clearing cycles, and it can
Yeah,
be discouraging. And so
yeah,
that's good that you've learned to say, this is temporary, this is temporary. When you go backwards, it seems like you're going backwards, but actually it's your body's way of moving forward. It's doing
yeah,
its healing work, right?
yeah. And
Yeah,
it
but
takes
that
time.
mindset and understanding and really embracing that reality can be
Yeah,
hard because you,
yeah,
again, people are wanting someone else to say, tell them what's going on. They want their doctor to say, yes, this is real, this is a problem. And even though you said it's obvious what's going on, but it isn't to your doctor. You're not going to get reassurance from them.
nope. Good luck. No,
Good luck.
they just don't know. They just don't know.
Mhm.
There's just no training in nutrition.
And it's certainly no one in nutrition or public health knows this either.
No.
Those are my areas, and I'm hoping that, together, all of us will be a force that will start educating all of those forces in nutrition, public health, and clinical medicine,
Yeah.
because they're leaving a lot of people in suffering and shrugging their shoulders and telling people to quit stressing out and go home.
And it's the people who do want to really look after themselves. I
They're
think
not getting the right information, are they?
no, and they're trying their best, but the harder you try, the harder you think, oh, I'll cut out dairy, I'll, eat all of the plant foods, I'll eat more vegetables. Like, you're doing everything you think you should be, and then boom, you get kidney stones. Yeah.
Ken Berry's on. Did you see Ken was saying hi there?
Oh no.
Yeah. So hi everybody who's out there. This has been a great discussion, don't you think? What do you think, guys? Amazing, her sharing her story. Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here we are trying to share. So what do other people do if they already recognize oxalates are important and they need to really be aware of where the high oxalate foods and how to come down off of that dangerous cliff of a high oxalate diet. And then they all want someone else in their family or their friends, or they know someone whose health isn't good, who they think would benefit from this. Have you figured out any way to share this with anybody? Have you ever had that impulse to say, yeah, maybe that spinach smoothie is a bad idea?
Just my vegetarian friends.
How's that going anyway?
Well, I think it's been, so, do I want to say it's been a shock? Like, nobody was like, oh no, you're not a vegetarian anymore. Isn't that terrible? But people have been curious. And, if somebody said, oh, why have you decided to stop being vegetarian or a vegan? Know your audience, because you start throwing out oxalates and you shouldn't eat spinach and people think you're a crazy person. But it's just allowing people to know, if you're not feeling 100% right doing this diet, maybe it's the diet's fault and it's not to do with you and you're doing everything right. But if you're not feeling 100% on your vegetarian vegan diet, like, you have to start asking the questions why. So I have, tried to share the joy of the oxalate knowledge, but I do think until people hit that stumbling block of my health is really flatlining here, it's kind of difficult to get through. But give me some time, give me another year. Yeah.
Well, I think you make a good point about letting people admit they don't necessarily feel good on their amazing diet, and let them, express that, and then give them that out. It's not your fault that you don't feel good, but it could be something to do with what you're eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nice, gentle set little gentle seeds, because we really don't want our friends to suffer. And most people who are doing a vegetarian diet are noble people who want to be good people.
Yeah.
And so they need a little support on opening up their eyes to what is countercultural. Right now, plant-based is where it's at, and that's where the money is. Like, you can sell some pretty crappy ingredients and call it vegan and put a big price tag on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people are being sold down the river.
Can I also just say, I can't believe how much money I save eating this way.
Please carry on.
Because I'm not hungry all the time.
Right. You're not a mass consumer. A steak will hold you.
Yeah, and
You're
that
not
has
out
been,
ripping packages open and looking for snacks and buying, whatever. And I think now people haven't let themselves have their butter and steak. And now that they're sequestered at home, there's a big increase in junk food buying, and that, the kale and quinoa just doesn't hold you.
nope, no, just constantly hungry. And I mean, it took me a while to get to the steak, but you eat a piece of red meat and like I've never felt full before. I just never felt full. I felt bloated. And
Bloated, right? That's what I was just thinking. You feel kind of
I was like, oh,
bloated and
that's the thing.
fat and uncomfortable and gassy, but
Right,
there's
that's not
no
right.
real satisfaction in it. And it's sort of the basis for an eating disorder. If you feel perpetually unsatisfied, you're constantly on the lookout for more to eat and more entertainments in your life, and you become a mass consumer, wasting all kinds of food when you could just have one lonely steak and be
Done with
a happy camper.
it just takes that mental, you just take your space back in your head when you're not constantly worrying about food. And yeah, just eat what your body wants to eat. It will tell you, and you'll be happy.
You'll be happy. And I'll tell you, for most women, it means more animal fat, more butter, more bacon, lots of fat on the steak.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really great. I'm so glad that we're doing this, and I think we should keep the conversation going in the future. What do you think?
100%. Absolutely.
Awesome. Anytime. You hear that, guys? Isn't she great? Let's hear from the audience. A couple of clapped hands out there for Harriet.
Oh, amazing.
What a cool story she has to share, and I'm so proud of her for sharing it. And we want to keep these conversations going. Many of you who are listening have had some pretty amazing stories yourselves. All right, I'd like to see the hearts flying. And for Earth Day, as I put on my story, please don't be order out and bring in all that plastic and styrofoam and styrene in your bloodstream and chopsticks and packaging. You could just get a good steak out of the freezer and cook it and be done with it, and cook it home to celebrate Earth Day. And if you're looking for ideas for low oxalate recipes, I do have a big cookbook that's a PDF document that you can download from my website. So check that out. Eat some good low oxalate food. Have a steak. Raise a fork and a chunk of butter in memory and appreciation for Harriet and her story. Anything else you want to say, Harriet?
No, just this has been great. And if there's anybody out there that's in need of some support, moving into this lifestyle, do send me a message. I'll get back to you. And yeah, thank you for everything that you've done for me, Sally, because I wouldn't be sat here with a smile on my face if we hadn't met a year ago.
Yeah, it's great that you did your research and that you found me and you took the time to take care of your health, because I know you were ambitious with your career and wanted to just tough it out. I mean, women are very tough. They want to grit their teeth, put up with pain, carry on and troop forward, and you needed to slow down long enough to take care of your health. And I think there's still been some of that going on too. So all of you guys, take time out for your health. All right, well, we're going to do it again. I think that's a wrap. Happy Earth Day. Be healthy, everybody. Stay in touch.
Thanks
Bye.
so much.